The cold morning air brushed against the windows of the bustling city as cars honked, people hurried, and life moved fast. Inside a towering glass skyscraper that shimmered in the sunlight, the staff prepared for another long day at Sterling Enterprises, one of the biggest companies in the country. Its CEO, Ethan Sterling, was a man of power, precision, and perfection. He lived by numbers and deals, not emotions. To the world, he was a symbol of success, the millionaire who built an empire from nothing. But beneath that flawless suit and sharp gaze, there was a silence that followed him everywhere, a silence that only loneliness could create. That morning, as Ethan stepped out of his car, his phone buzzed endlessly with reminders and meetings. His assistant, Clara, ran up with his schedule in hand. "You have back-to-back conferences today, sir. Lunch at one with the investors from Singapore," she said, walking briskly beside him. Ethan nodded, replying with his usual calm, "Just make sure everything is ready. I don't have time for delays today." As he entered the building, employees stood straighter, offering polite greetings. He responded with a nod, professional, distant, untouchable. Ethan Sterling didn't believe in mixing emotions with work. After all, emotions had only brought him pain. But fate has a strange way of entering our lives, sometimes in the smallest, most innocent form. Just before the elevator doors closed, a soft voice called out from behind. "Wait, please." The voice was tiny, trembling, and full of urgency. Ethan instinctively pressed the button to hold the door open. A little girl, no older than 7, came running, holding a small pink lunchbox. Her cheeks were flushed from the cold, and her eyes sparkled with innocence. She wore a faded school uniform and mismatched socks, her hair tied up in uneven pigtails. She looked up at Ethan and smiled shyly. "Thank you, mister." Ethan nodded slightly, his gaze dropping to the lunchbox she clutched tightly. "Where are your parents? You shouldn't be here alone." The girl looked around nervously. "I'm looking for my daddy," she whispered. "He forgot his lunch." Ethan frowned. "Your father works here." She nodded quickly, her voice soft and certain. "Yes. He's tall. He wears a suit like you." Then she looked up, her big eyes meeting his as she whispered, "You forgot your lunch, Daddy." The elevator went silent. Everyone inside froze for a second. Ethan blinked, startled, unsure how to respond. The little girl stood on her tiptoes and offered him the pink lunchbox. "Mommy said you always forget to eat when you're busy." Whispers spread among the employees. Ethan, the untouchable CEO, being called "Daddy" by a stranger's child, it was almost unimaginable. He knelt down slowly, his voice gentler now. "Sweetheart, I think you've mistaken me for someone else. I'm not your dad." The girl's face fell. Confusion flickered in her eyes. "But you look just like him," she murmured. "He used to smile like you did just now." Those words hit Ethan harder than he expected. Smile? When was the last time he truly smiled? The elevator doors opened, and before he could say more, Clara stepped forward. "Sir, we should." Ethan raised his hand slightly. "It's fine." Then, turning to the girl, he said softly, "Let's find your father, okay?" The receptionist checked the records, but there was no employee matching the name the girl gave. Maybe he doesn't work here anymore, she said kindly. The little girl's lip quivered. He used to. Mommy said this is where Daddy worked before. Her voice trailed off. Ethan crouched beside her again. Before what? She hesitated, clutching her lunchbox tighter. Before the accident. Ethan's chest tightened. He glanced at Clara, who quietly pulled him aside. Sir, maybe we should call social services. No, Ethan interrupted. She's just a child. Let's not make her feel more lost than she already is. He turned back to the girl and said gently, "What's your name?" "Lily," she replied. "My name is Lily." "Well, Lily," Ethan said, forcing a small smile, "why don't we go downstairs and have some breakfast while we figure this out?" Her face lit up, and she nodded eagerly. At the cafe downstairs, Ethan ordered pancakes and hot chocolate for her. As she ate, she told him little stories, about her school, about how her mom worked at a diner, and how she missed her dad. Ethan listened quietly, something stirring in his chest that he hadn't felt in years. When she finished eating, she looked up at him and said, "You remind me of him. He used to help people too. Mommy said he was kind before he got sick." Ethan froze. "Sick?" She nodded sadly. "He worked too hard and forgot to rest. One night, he didn't come home. Mommy cried for many days." Ethan's throat tightened. He'd heard many stories of people losing loved ones to exhaustion, to stress, to the kind of life he was living. And in Lily's innocent words, he saw a reflection of himself. The same endless chase. The same emptiness. He drove Lily to the small neighborhood she pointed out. When they arrived, her mother rushed out, tears in her eyes. "Lily, oh my God, where were you?" She hugged her daughter tightly, trembling. Ethan stepped forward, explaining gently. "She came to my office. Said she was looking for her dad." The woman's eyes widened as she recognized him. "Mr. Sterling, you're the CEO." Ethan nodded. "Your daughter's very brave." The woman, Emma, smiled weakly. "I'm so sorry. She's been confused lately. Her father worked for your company 3 years ago, in maintenance. His name was Henry Parker." Ethan's expression changed. He remembered that name. Henry Parker had died in a construction accident at one of the company sites. Ethan had signed the insurance papers himself. Lily tugged on his sleeve. "You see, Mommy, I told you Daddy still works there. He's helping people, right?" Emma bit her lip, tears glistening. "Sweetheart, Mr. Sterling isn't your dad." But Ethan knelt beside Lily again. "She's not wrong," he said softly. "Your daddy helped build my company. Without him, we wouldn't be where we are. He's still a part of it, every day." Lily smiled brightly at that, her innocent faith shining through. She hugged him tightly, surprising him. "Then you're like my daddy's friend," she whispered. That simple hug broke through years of emotional walls Ethan had built around himself. It was pure, unfiltered love, something he hadn't felt since he was a child. Before leaving, he quietly handed Emma a card. "If you ever need help, please call me." She hesitated. "Mr. Sterling, we don't want charity." He smiled gently. "It's not charity. It's gratitude." Days turned into weeks, but Ethan couldn't forget the little girl's words, "You forgot your lunch, Daddy." They echoed in his mind every morning as he looked at his reflection, realizing how empty his success felt. One Friday afternoon, he visited the diner where Emma worked. Lily ran to him instantly, hugging his legs. "You came," she beamed. Ethan smiled. Truly smiled, for the first time in years. "I told you I would." He spent that evening sitting at the counter, eating the homemade pie Emma had baked. It wasn't just food, it was warmth, simplicity, and humanity he'd long forgotten. From that day onward, Ethan began changing how he lived. He started a foundation in Henry Parker's name to support families of workers who had lost their lives on the job. He visited schools, spoke to children, and made time to eat lunch every day, sometimes even with Lily and Emma. When Christmas came around, he invited them to his home for dinner. The grand mansion that once echoed with silence now filled with laughter and the sound of a child's joy. Lily hung a small pink ornament on his tree, shaped like a lunchbox. "So you never forget again," she said with a giggle. Ethan knelt beside her, his voice warm and full of emotion. "I promise, Lily, I'll never forget again." That night, as the snow fell softly outside, Ethan realized that the greatest wealth in life wasn't found in the empire he built, it was found in the hearts he touched. The man who once lived only for success finally found something worth living for: love, connection, and the reminder that sometimes, even a stranger's child can heal the deepest wounds of a lonely soul. And every morning after that, before heading to work, he made sure to pack 2 lunches, one for himself, and one for Lily, because the little girl who mistook him for her father had unknowingly given him back something far more precious than he ever imagined: a reason to smile again. And as the story reminds us, sometimes, it's not blood that makes a family, but love, kindness, and the small miracles that bring people together. A simple act, a soft word, or even an innocent mistake can change a hardened heart and rewrite someone's entire life. So never underestimate the power of compassion, because you never know whose world you might brighten just by showing a little care. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to share it with someone who needs a reminder that love still exists, even in the coldest places. Heart. Subscribe for more emotional and inspiring stories, because every heart has a story worth telling.